After we finished building our new editing PC, I installed it. Back then it was on the table and then it moved down to the floor. However, after a week or two of usage, it started to be a tick louder than it was supposed to be. And given that I built everything myself and I knew exactly what I put into it, I kind of knew where it was supposed to be, but it was a fraction louder. I'm not talking loud. It wasn't like yelling on idle, really not. But it was, instead of it was. However, given how full our schedule was at the time, I just didn't allocate any resources of our time into this issue because it was just a fraction of a dB too loud. So I just didn't care. However, give it a few more weeks and I noticed something, because right here I have one of those Stream Decks, the Elgato Stream Deck, and I have a plugin in the bottom left corner that tells me exactly what percentage of the CPU is in use. And for some reason it was always hovering around 50%. At that point I realized that something was indeed off. The PC was not just a bit too loud, there was indeed some sort of workload hitting it, which then my Steam Deck for some reason was able to display. My first instinct at the time was just to open Hardware Monitor, just to see what is going on, what is happening, and for some reason the Steam Deck, or the little icon with the CPU load, immediately dropped down to 0% and the noise of the PC went down that fraction of a dB instantly. Like, something was off. However, because I was starting Hardware Monitor, I initially thought, or my initial idea was that there was some sort of BIOS issue, that the configuration that I put in for the fans was just not taking, and if I start Hardware Monitor, something happens, you have that whole ASUS software that is really wacky, and maybe that's an issue, and if I start Hardware Monitor, it gives it a little kick, and then it starts up again. So I kind of threw the issue into a corner and I started to ignore it again because, hey, I can just start Hardware Monitor and the issue goes away. A couple of weeks later, I realized that it wasn't the initial start of Hardware Monitor that was creating this issue, it was the presence of it. And I realized that if I don't keep Hardware Monitor open, give it 10-15 minutes and the noise goes up again and the little icon will display 50% workload again. So I knew something, at that point I knew something was really off. What I also realized in the meantime is that it wasn't only Hardware Monitor, because that would somehow make sense, but it was also straight up Task Manager. As soon as I open Task Manager, the issue gone, close Task Manager, give it 10-15 minutes, and the issue is there again. At that point I also kind of realized that I just know about the CPU. I have no clue if the GPU is also having some workload. I can't verify that, because the only thing that is displaying this issue to me is my Elgato Stream Deck, because as soon as you open Task Manager, this is just a reflection of it. Task Manager will show me 0% workload, whereas if I close it down and I wait a bit, Steam Deck will show me something different. So at that point I was intrigued, I knew something was off, I need to investigate, something is not normal here. So my first thought was to get one of those process scanning apps that can go a bit deeper than just Task Manager. However, no matter which one I tried, nothing was displayed. Everything was normal, workload 0. I couldn't find anything. Task Manager wouldn't help me because as soon as I open it, the workload goes away. Given that I still wasn't sure that all of this is really happening and that my PC is not just having some sort of a bug, of an issue, I still needed to investigate it. But it just didn't make any sense. Something was off. So my next idea was to open Windows Event View, Windows Event View. And now it's opening. However, when I initially, like a month ago, when I started it up, I got an error message saying something along the lines of this feature is not present on your Windows version, which doesn't make any sense. Every Windows version has Event Viewer. Event Viewer is basically like the program you can use to see like things that have happened to the OS, like sudden shutdowns, you can investigate those, logs, everything what's error logs is in there. You can do a lot of stuff, but I couldn't open it. So at that point I knew something happened to my PC that was not supposed to happen, and I needed to find out exactly what. The next step was to somehow get Event Viewer to launch. And what I found out is that something happened to the registry of my Windows. one or something did an edit, and there is apparently a key that you can set, and then you can deactivate specific Windows applications, like Event Viewer, something that a normal person would never open up, but if you need to investigate issues, it's a pretty good way to start. So I removed that key and voila, it is opening again. However, as soon as I open it, the issue goes away again. Workload drops down to 0%, like now it is still showing 0%, and in 10-15 minutes it will go up again. However, I still couldn't find out what was happening. Of course, at that point I was kind of suspecting what was going on. There is a huge workload on my PC while I'm not looking for it, and if I'm looking for it, the workload goes away. I think we all kind of know where this is going. So I needed to find it. And initially I thought, okay, Windows Defender, we are in 2023, Windows Defender can do stuff, so let's make a run. 0 results, no virus on my PC, nothing is happening. So okay, let's try the advanced run where the PC will shut down and it will do its thing. 0 results, nothing that can happen. Then I went back to my old childhood friend Avast, and no results. Avast couldn't do anything. There is nothing going on which is wacky on my PC. So I was getting kind of desperate and was trying those malware programs one after the other and after the other, but every damn time that I started it up, the workload dropped to 0. The program itself didn't find anything. I didn't know how to do it except for wipe the whole system. At some point I got to Malwarebytes, one of those malware scanners, which is basically free, and you have like a Shield that is running 24/7 for a premium, but the regular version is free. And if you have a closer look at all of those modifications in my registry, which were not supposed to be made, somewhat or something made them. This disallow thing here is deactivating programs. This is not good. However, at the very bottom of all of this, look what we have here. So apparently between me building the PC and 2 weeks after that, I somehow catch a goddamn Bitcoin miner. So somebody was mining off my electricity for months and months. Keep in mind, the release of the videos are not reflective of when I built the PC. We released the video like a month or 2 after that, so the time span is a lot bigger than you might believe. So somebody was profiting off my PC, somebody was gaining money by making my hardware mine, which is making me furious. Something that I really want to emphasize with this video. This is a working PC, so there is really no wacky stuff going on with it. It is just used for video editing and for company stuff. So nobody uses any torrents, nobody uses, click to download more RAM buttons, nothing of that caliber. And I just can't figure out how the virus or how the Bitcoin miner got on my PC. And that really makes me furious, but I just can't understand how. However, if it happened to me without me doing weird stuff, it also means that there might be an army of people to whom this has happened to without their knowledge. Keep in mind, the only reason I knew about this is because I knew the tone of my PC so perfectly that I knew something was off, plus I have an Elgato which was showing it to me. But take those 2 things away and you will never find out. You will start Task Manager and it will show nothing. It will show 0%, and there you are and you think everything is fine. So if there is one thing to take away from this video, make a run of Malwarebytes. This is not an ad for them. They did not pay me for anything here. They are just the only program that was able to find it. Avast didn't, Windows Defender didn't, and the army of malware programs that I used that I would just not name because that would be kind of mean, nobody was able to find it except them. And they have a free version. You don't need the premium. So download the program, run it once. If you have one of those or anything else, you can quarantine everything and you are good, or you are supposed to be good. Then you can still delete the program because it has like a Windows startup function. It will pop up like, those messages, hey, get premium, and that's annoying, so you can still delete it. But the free version is sufficient, you can remove it afterward. However, for my case, although Malwarebytes was able to find the Bitcoin miner, and although I'm able to now just quarantine it and it is gone and I don't need to care about it, although I believe them that this is working fine now, I don't trust it. This is a working PC. This is not my personal rig on which I, game all day long. And there are classified documents going through it. So although it is supposed to be good now, I just don't trust that process. What I will do now is wipe the whole PC. And to go even one step higher, I will create the USB drive to install the new version of Windows on another PC. Because once you get into that hole of viruses on your system, there is logically nothing preventing from the virus to be so developed that it will infect new versions of Windows which you just downloaded, and you can, create a spiral that will just never go away. So although I do kind of believe Malwarebytes that this is working, the system is too fragile for me to believe that all of this is working. So I will wipe everything. And if I can recommend anything to anybody, wipe your system. Once you have a virus, just wipe your system. Get off whatever is important on a drive and then wipe the system, install a new version of Windows, slap the drive back in with antivirus and check everything, and be sure that the data you are moving is not infected itself. Just don't trust an infected Windows version which has been cleansed. I know it's annoying to install a fresh version of Windows, and for example me, I will need to pay another Office license. My Office license is one-time activation only, so I need to spend another $50 to get Word going, which is annoying, but I prefer that than the potential that this will return at some point in the future. Because hey, the virus was intelligent enough to just shut down as soon as I open anything, so who knows what it is capable of. I'm just not, playing with my luck here. Wipe everything and I'm done. So yeah, this was kind of an odd video, but hey, at least you now know how my working area is looking like. But I think the message is very important, which we try to shout out here. This is an issue that can affect everybody. You don't want your bill to be driven up because somebody else is profiting off you. So just do it, it doesn't cost anything. But hey, if you have a virus, or if you have a mining virus on your rig, tell us in the comments below. I would like to know if there is a significant percentage, or if I was just having bad luck, because I just can't figure out how it got here. Little update half an hour after the initial recording. I'm in the editing process. The virus is still there. Malwarebytes wasn't able to fully remove it, and the new one is also shutting down as soon as Malwarebytes opens. So sorry, but the only thing left to do is wipe the system. Still, Malwarebytes can be used to find if there is an initial issue. That may be true, or just open up Event Viewer. If it doesn't open up, something is off, but nothing can help except for wiping the whole system. Unfortunate, but that's how it is. But yeah, in hopes that you don't have anything like that, have a great day.